So this panel is called Where the Rubber Meets the Runway and the Road. It's an outlook on transportation. So I'd like to start calling our panelists up. They can make their way up here. We have the moderator of this panel is an airline industry veteran. He's Chair Emeritus of the Hawaiʻi Tourism Authority Board, nearly 40-year veteran of Hawaiian Airlines. The first Hawaiian Airlines team member to go from the line all the way up to the executive office.
Yes.
We're extremely proud of him. We're so thankful to have him on our board of directors. Please welcome our moderator for this morning's panel, Blaine Miyasato. And then, Blaine, do you want to introduce or shall I introduce?
Please.
Okie doke. So, that's our moderator, Blaine Miyasato. Next, I want to call up, let's go in reverse alphabetical order for fun. Sean Williams from Airlines for America. It's a group that airlines are limited a lot in how they can communicate and collaborate. Airlines for America is one of those places where they can collaborate for the betterment of the industry and for the betterment of the communities they serve. Mahalo, Sean, for being here. Next up, Nanea Vasta from the Transportation Security Administration. She is the boss of all the TSA operations in Hawaii and the rest of the Pacific. And we're so happy to have her here today. I did check my pocket for metal objects before I came up. I don't have any. Here's my phone. I think I put my pre-check number on my reservation, so we should be good. Mahalo nui for joining us. Orchestrating all that happens on our highways, our harbors, and our airports. I don't envy this brother's job at all, but he's doing an amazing job at it. Ed Sniffen is the director of the Hawaii Department of Transportation with an immense kuleana to keep Hawaii moving, to keep business moving, keep commerce moving, make sure no more potholes, all this stuff. Just nui ke kuleana. Mahalo, brother, for being here. We have Roy Pfund, one of our Hawaii Tourism Authority board members. Roy is president and CEO of Roberts Hawaii. So that's where the rubber meets the road. After you hit the runway, then you meet the road. Roy, mahalo for joining us to provide the ground transportation perspective on this. And finally, shoot, my passport is expired, sorry. From the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, one of the agencies tasked with keeping all of America safe. Please welcome Chris Hawkins. So with that, I will turn this esteemed panel over to our moderator for the morning, Blaine Miyasato.
Mahalo. Aloha kako. I think I was going to start with this. What part of this says pickleball? I actually really like that observation. I know we're going to run out of time, and so I'll try to make this efficient, hopefully interesting. And at the end of this presentation, with our esteemed panel, hopefully the concept of kako, which I must admit, a year ago when I joined the Hawaii Tourism Authority, I started using the term, but a year later, it's taken on a completely different meaning. And in the end, we truly are all in this together. I think the governor and SP, without talking to each other, that concept resonates, because in the end, that's what it's all about. And also, I want to talk about transportation through the lens of divided by Hawaii. Not multiplied by, but divided by Hawaii, which relates to kako. And I think as we go through the presentation, you'll see how we can sort of achieve both goals and deliver on that. So, as we all practiced, you guys ready? I'm joking. They only found out about this last night, by the way, so. All right, so I'm going to start off with some questions. And Ed, if you don't mind, I'm gonna ask you to pass on to your colleagues if there's something you want to share. Okay. So let's start with Ed. Tell us about Hawaii Airport, how Hawaii airports are structured and financed, and a brief overview of how that compares to other airports in the country.
Good morning, everybody. Ed Sniffen from Hawaii Tourism. Thanks so much for having me, Blaine. Really good question on how we stack up. We're really weighed through the industry by J.D. Powers. And it was big news when it came out that H&L, our flagship airport in Hawaii, was second to the last on the list for large airports throughout the nation. I mean, it kind of cuts, right? When Hawaii when it comes up in something like that. When we started working with J.D. Powers to ensure that we understood what it meant to be in the ranking that we did, found out that there were 6 rankings that they went through. Included infrastructure, included signage, included experience throughout. And we knew from Hawaii's perspective that we cannot rebuild our airport tomorrow. It cost us $270 million for Mauka Concourse. Beautiful facility. Next build is going to be Diamond Head Concourse for $2 billion. That's not going to come overnight. That's looking at coming in about 2035. So we knew we had to do something soon to ensure we can move ourselves up in the rankings. The cool thing is, we did. The first thing we started doing was ensuring first that everybody would be safe. Our runways were crap. I'll just put it very bluntly. When we started looking at the runways, when we first took the job and started walking the areas, we saw that our runways were not only just old, they were causing extreme inefficiencies. There were areas that our pilots were avoiding because they knew there'd be FOD or other debris or other cracks that would cause different impacts to their airplanes. So we put $500 million into runways immediately. We also understood that we can make our terminals as beautiful as possible with the funding that we're putting into it. But if it's not clean, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you a story. We have a sister relationship with Haneda Airport. Wanted to make sure that we could capitalize on their experience to make our airports better. When the chairman of Haneda Airport came in, we asked him his impression of walking around an airport. And the first word he said is, dirty. I mean, that wasn't what I wanted to hear from him, right? We made sure that, and our staff understands now, we cannot be the biggest and brightest airport tomorrow, but we can be the cleanest today. So if you'll see a lot more differences as you go to our airports as far as cleanliness. The deep cleaning occurs twice a week now to ensure that you don't have any smells in the bathrooms and the like. And also, when you walk around, very easy to see the cleanliness. When I walk around to our airports and I will travel, my staff hates it because I find areas where I can write my name in the dust and I take pictures of it so I can send it to them. I have a hard time finding those areas now because they're taking a lot of pride in the way we push it. And it's showing up in the J.D. Power rankings. So we just started this with them last October. The rankings just came out in June, and we already moved up 2 slots, which is a good thing because we're paying attention to the right things, that experience that everybody has coming through. When we started looking at the J.D. Power ranking, they added another lens to it, which helped us out tremendously. It was trust in the airport employees. We ranked significantly higher than most of the other airports in the nation, which helped us on our rankings as well. But taking care of the little things, ensuring that the experience is way better, getting our VIP people to make sure that we push lines through. So in the TSA area, we can stick to that 19-minute time frame that we're targeting in those areas. We also wanted to make sure that we focused on the areas that people want to be. When you come to the airport, we tell you you're going to go transpac, come 2 hours ahead of time. I don't want you just sitting in your seat the whole time. I want you spending a whole bunch of money at the airport. So we're making sure that we adjust the concessions. We want to ensure that we have a local feel to the concessions that are coming through. So we have commitments from Alan Wong, Aloha Plate with Lanai guys, Lei Stan, ensuring that we can bring more local vendors and highlight their experience, their choices in our airports, so our visitors can come through and get that local experience at the airport, and our local travelers, can go through to something that they absolutely enjoy. We're still working with other vendors. We're trying to get Zippy's, we're trying to get Lily Hub Bakery to make sure that when you get omiyage going to the Big Island so that you can buy off on your permits at the county department, you can just get them from the airport. That's what we're trying to push to ensure that your travel is way easier for everybody. And the good thing is, in the JD Power ranking, our branding is very high. They ranked us very high in ensuring that our airport actually looks like our city, our state. So we're working towards that and ensuring that we capitalize on those small things we can move forward on, but also with a lens to the future. We're already moving forward on projects that are enabling us to get us to our Diamond Head Conquest project a lot faster. But the big piece of this is when you get to the airport, the first thing you think about is how I'm going to get through security. We all know in the industry, there's no way we fill all the positions that are vacant right now. And that's for us at the state and for the feds as well. So they're leaning more into technology to ensure that we do a better job of trying to make sure that we improve the experience. The cool thing, working with Nanea and working with Chris, is security is number one, has to be. But the agencies from the highest levels are also looking at the experience for all the travelers to your airports. And I'm going to turn this over to Chris to start talking story about what they're doing on our side.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to discuss these programs and also highlight our close collaboration with the State of Hawaii Department of Transportation. We really appreciate it. Just to emphasize, our mission requires an enforcement and security posture, and that's a key focus. However, at the same time, we do understand and recognize the need to facilitate legitimate travelers through our inspectional process. Some of the programs that we have in place is utilizing technology and innovation. One of the first ones I want to highlight is the mobile passport control, which essentially our inspectional process requires a number of steps upon arrival. Mobile passport control is a free voluntary program which allows travelers to transmit information to CBP in advance. So when they present themselves for inspection in front of an officer on primary at H&L, there's fewer steps that we have to do for those members who are participating in mobile passport control. Now, one of the key aspects of this, since it is free and voluntary, is awareness. So that's why we appreciate the opportunity to discuss it with the community and make sure that folks are aware that this option is available. So the more passengers that can participate in this program, it will allow us to focus our resources more efficiently and effectively. Another program that we have available is the Trusted Traveler Program. And currently, Japan is in a pilot partnership with CBP concerning this. And we are expecting, hopefully, a permanent status to occur in the near future here, which would permit Japanese travelers to apply for global entry, which allows them to have an enhanced experience upon arrival. There's different apps that are available as well as utilizing a kiosk. They'll have a designated lane that allows them to be facilitated through on our inspectional process. And more travelers that we can have within this Trusted Traveler Program helps us focus our staffing resources elsewhere to our other non-citizens. That's another option. We do also have EPP, which is Enhanced Primary Process, that we're exploring with participating with the state of Hawaii here at H&L. And it's another way to process U.S. citizens on primary. And again, every opportunity we have to reduce the steps that each traveler experiences upon arrival allows us to focus our resources elsewhere to other non-citizens and to facilitate, like I said, our legitimate travelers through the inspectional process. Those are three of the key programs I wanted to highlight, and I think we have on the slide here the MPC, emphasizing again it's free, it streamlines the entry process, and it is a voluntary program.
If I can, okay, just want to add to this. What this means for all of you, we're trying to recapture that the Japan travelers coming in. We're trying to make sure we enhance their experiences, so make it easy for them to travel through. Working with Customs and Border Patrol, there's only 2 other airports that's going through that EPP program right now, right?
That's correct. I think actually Dallas is the first one that has this program, And we're excited to explore the opportunity here at HNL. Once that's able to have it implemented, again, it will allow us to dedicate more staff to our non-citizens, and certainly it's going to be a great opportunity for our travelers here.
Excellent. And we're hopeful that if we can make it easy for the Japan traveler, we don't have to wait for the yen to come back down to 100. We can make sure that we can start pushing the travel for them a lot sooner. That trusted partner program is really important. CBP is ahead of the curve on it, making sure that it's in the government of Japan's court. All they got to do now is approve the software that's coming into the system, and they can move forward to take that 5,000 member cap off that program, and all of Japan can be trusted partners to take care of that enhanced experience coming through.
Yeah, and if I just may also add concerning the mobile passport control, it was only last fall that this was expanded to our ESTA travelers. It's currently supported in 5 languages, and we anticipate Japanese language to be supported in the application very soon here, at the end of October. So we're excited about that opportunity. In August, through some of the outreach that we've been able to conduct, we've seen an increase in the Japanese travelers using MPC. And again, that's going to help facilitate our legitimate travelers through the inspectional process. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. And really appreciate the partnership with CBP. I mean, absolutely amazing with the federal agencies leaning into the experience piece. And I would love for all of you guys, and we're going to get more information to HTA. I'd love for all of you guys to help us get this message out. CBP has been posting it on their website. We've been enhancing it on our socials. We'd love to get it to you to get that chance to push it into your industry as well. CBP is a big piece, especially with the international travelers. The day-to-day travelers all fall under Nanea and her group. I gotta say, she's one of the best partners that we had. When we start working towards enhancing the experience in different areas, we can provide information to her and her staff, provide resources to ensure that we both work together on getting everybody through a lot more efficiently. Nanea?
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and speak to you folks this morning. I just want to highlight, on the heels of what Director Sniffen said and Governor Green, the partnership aspect, because we're only one piece of the puzzle, TSA, but I think everyone sitting up here on this panel is very much of the mindset that we are thinking of the traveler first, and the holistic experience of traveling through an airport and what that means to a passenger. So it's so important that we maintain these close relationships so that is a seamless process from the time that a traveler is either dropped off curbside, parks their vehicle in the parking structure, to the time that they get wheels up on that aircraft. So I'll spend just a few minutes talking about where TSA fits into that. And some of the technology capabilities that we have currently and in the future. Before I get into that a little bit, I just want to highlight the fact that we've got all kinds of cool technology available currently and coming, but our people still remain the greatest asset that we have. So that is where the resources predominantly go, and our focus is as well. So next slide, thank you. Awesome. So what you see here is TSA's Innovation Checkpoint. If any of you have had the opportunity to see it, it's really neat. People come from all over the world to look at what the newest technologies available are, and that is in Las Vegas. This rolled out in 2019 at the Las Vegas airport, and it showcases all of the newest and greatest technologies that are available. So if anyone is interested in visiting the checkpoint, you can observe the capabilities of that technology in a live environment, so passengers can opt into that experience, and it's really neat to see. So we're working on planning a visit for the Hawaiʻi Department of Transportation, hopefully later this month, so that we can talk about the future technologies that we're interested in for our Hawaii airports. Next slide. Thank you. So some of the new technology that we have is the CAT2 machines, which are the credentialing technology where we're checking IDs. We also rolled out just in August, the digital ID experience for Hawaii residents. There are several other states that already participate in this program, which we now accept at all of our airports across the state of Hawaii, and those states are Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Iowa, Louisiana, Maryland, New York, Ohio, Utah, and Virginia. So that list is growing. It's a pretty neat experience. You add your driver's license to your digital wallet, and you're able to scan that on our CAT2 machine. We also have new advanced imaging technology, the Roden Schwartz, which I'll get into on the next slide, CT X-ray machines, and then we're looking at the future of automated screening lanes and self-service screening systems further down the road. Next slide. Thank you. So we have all of our Hawaii airports up and running with our CAT2 technology, which is the latest and greatest in ID technologies as of September. This technology allows for passengers to access the checkpoint without a boarding pass, so they just come through, present their ID unless there's any issues. That's all you need to get through. It's very secure and effective. And as I already mentioned, we are, due to that technology, allowing the digital IDs currently. And that can be both on the phone or on a smartwatch. Thank you. So here you see our newest advanced imaging technology, or AIT, body scanners, as many folks call them. Currently, we have one machine deployed at Lihui. This was one of the first machines to roll out across the nation and the world, so we're really proud to have been able to fight for one of those machines here in Hawaii. We do have several more coming. We're going to be receiving 2 for Maui for the new checkpoint that is underway, as well as 1 for Kona. So we're excited to have that. It's very effective. It's very fast. It takes just milliseconds to screen a passenger using this machine in particular. And it's received the highest level of approvals through ECAC. So that says a lot to that technology as well. CT technology, or computer tomography X-ray, is also a really neat new technology that we have. Each of our airports in Hawaii have at least one machine. Our goal eventually is to have 100% of our machines with this CT technology. It allows the passengers to leave all the items in their bags, essentially. So that's what it means for you. All the fancy new technology is great, but for passengers, what that means is we're able to see the images so clearly using that technology that when we're operating those machines, passengers don't need to separate the items out of their bags. So of course, that makes the passenger experience better. All right, next slide. Thank you. So automated screening lanes, we do not currently have. We do have our new checkpoints that have been recently built. So here in Honolulu, the Mauka Concourse, the infrastructure is in place should we move to these automated screening lanes in the future. It does improve the passenger process, and so that's always something that we're looking at. Same with the Maui checkpoint that is being in the process of being built. So just to put things in perspective, TSA screens between 2 and 2.5 million passengers a day. So of course, we're always looking at what the technology impact is to the passengers and where the benefit is going to be to them going through the screening process. So the cost that's associated with this technology either falls on the airport operator or the airlines. So that's something that we're always looking at. In the future. It is costly, but we're very interested in moving in that direction. Next slide. Oh, thank you. All right, so, sorry. So the self-service screening system is kind of the future of TSA, what we're looking at doing. The officers are available for assistance as needed, but essentially it is a fully automated screening process where passengers are going through, following video-guided instructions and going through the screening process on their own. So that is being piloted, and currently it's only deployed at Las Vegas. So if you take that trip to the Innovation Checkpoint, you can see that in action. And finally, I'll just speak to pre-check. So again, what's in it for our passengers? Most of you probably in this room are familiar with what TSA pre-check is. It's a trusted traveler program, and it benefits passengers by, again, them being able to provide us a little bit of information on the front end prior to their travel. And then they arrive at the airport, we have that information already, so there isn't a security need for them to remove their shoes, their jacket, or take their items out of their luggage. 99% of our pre-check passengers wait 5 minutes or less to be screened, so it's a much better passenger experience. We do focus a lot of our efforts there on making sure that things are running as efficiently as possible. And again, that is due to passengers not having to divest their items. It doesn't back up the line in the same way that that can happen. And so that's $78 a year. For families, kids 12 and under that are traveling with a pre-check individual, they're included in the pre-check process. And then between 13 and 17, if they're on the same reservation and it's on their boarding pass, they also are opted in to pre-check. And then finally, just briefly highlight what upcoming projects we have on the horizon. We have a new 6-lane checkpoint that's currently being developed at Maui. So we're really looking forward to that. And that is in partnership, of course, with Hawaiʻi Department of Transportation, that close partnership I spoke to. We're also looking at improving and replacing some of our baggage systems, particularly Lihue, Honolulu, some upgrades, and Maui as well. We have some unique circumstances here that are not experienced across the rest of the airports in the nation, just due to a lot of our airports being exposed to the elements. So those are, constantly things that we're looking at maintaining and upgrading. So.
Oh, thank you for that. And Blaine, just to wrap up, for everybody, what you just heard is we're trying to make it easy for you to get to those lines as fast as possible. Keep all your clothes on. You even saw that you don't have to lift up your arms anymore. You can put them down now. Make it easier to get to those lines.
Thank you for
that. Yeah, get the experience faster, but also make sure that you can get to your location a lot sooner, so you don't have to come to the airport 2 hours ahead of time. You can make sure that you can spend more time outside rather than in. And want to make sure that everybody heard as well from both sides, where we have an eye on cost. For us in Hawaii, our landing fees are in the lower third in the nation, and we want to keep it that way to make sure that the airlines don't have to pass that cost on to you and everybody else that uses our airports. So that's the goal for us, and that's how we're trying to approach things right now.
Fantastic, Mike Ka'i. The theme, again, is Kako, divided by Hawaii. I think, Ed and your team, you really demonstrated what that means in tangible terms. I also would like to point out that I think this is one of the first times that Transportation Airlines has included the partners. I also would like to give a shout out, Mike Ka'i, to Nanea. Local girl does good. I mean, you are TSA, you understand our sensibilities, not just for the visitor, but also for the Kama'aina, and I congratulate you. Fantastic.
Thanks so much.
Okay, we're going to move on to Roy Pfund. And Roy, before I get to your question, Old Guard Hawaiian Airlines had or has Pualani. And many, many people over the years asked about her. Who is she? Is she Brooke Lee? Is she, what's her personality? I also used to hear this a lot too, in fact, from visitors. Who's Roberts? So, perhaps you can talk about that in a minute, but getting into your question, in a world of consolidations, mergers, and acquisitions, in a world of consolidations, mergers, and acquisitions, I'm intrigued by the staying power of the Roberts Hawaii brand. You really are a true Kama'aina institution, actually a dying breed these days. So what's the Roberts Hawaii story?
Thanks, Blaine. Before I start off, I just want to, really have a big mahalo for Director Sniffen and his transportation team. I think they're kind of an unrecognized part of the visitor industry. You know, they handle 9 million plus, visitor arrivals to the airport, 200,000 plus cruise ship arrivals at the state piers. And then on the highways, they've got everything from, we got rent-a-cars, local cars, public transportation, our tour vehicles. So, they're a super important part of our industry. So, mahalo to you and your team. Yeah, let me just, just a little background on the Roberts Company. It was actually founded by the Iwamoto family back in Kauai in 1941 and started as a taxi. It grew up to be the largest diversified transportation company in the state. We do things such as operate public transportation on the Big Island, the Helion system, the Maui bus. We do tours. We do school buses. The company actually now is an employee-owned company, so we have like 1,400 plus active employee owners of the company. And over the course of the years, probably one of the bigger challenges right now is CDL drivers or lack of CDL drivers. So, our company, as a contribution to what we do, is we train 70 to 80 CDL drivers a year statewide, and again, that goes to support all of our transportation activities. And one of the things on the tour side that I think is very important is as we look forward to the future and, like just the whole regenerative tour industry, we're trying to really actively look at how we can collaborate and work with various, whether it's agricultural type tours, local businesses. Again, I think that's part of the whole goal that we, from the HTA level, we heard it from the governor, from Senate President, that's our goal, that's our contribution that we would want to make to Hawaii, and how we are, I think, able to more work with the local communities and support tourism and communities in general.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I want to do a time check here. It's 31:25 on the clock. Does that mean we have 31 minutes left, or does that mean try to go faster? Is there, Ilya? Okay, just try to go faster. 25. Okay, thank you. Very good. All right, Sean's been patiently waiting at the end there. Sean, a lot of people don't know the A4A. Can you tell us about the organization, the kako that you bring to the state, and in particular, how it's been divided by the state of Hawaii?
Good morning. Okay. Good morning. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Blaine. Thank you to the HTA for having me here this morning. Obviously, Blaine, you don't subscribe to the theory of saving the best for last, and that's a good thing because this is such a distinguished panel that I'm here this morning, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you and all of you in the audience.
I have faith in you, don't worry. It's all good.
Airlines for America is the trade association of the major U.S. passenger and cargo airlines here in the United States. We're based in D.C. Our membership includes all of the major domestic carriers here in the United States, and we work on public policy issues that are of great interest to not only to our members, but to our passengers and to the communities that we serve throughout the country. And I, in particular, handle state and local issues and have spent a significant amount of time here in Hawaii, building relationships with government officials, people like Director Sniffen. I see Senator DeCoit here, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and other legislators throughout the state of Hawaii. And what we've really tried to work on in the last several years is to create sort of a one-stop shop here in Hawaii for public policy issues, questions, things that come up, that we can cut through the red tape and help the state of Hawaii to flourish in terms of air service and facilitate solutions to public policy issues that the state faces. And those could be things like taxes or labor issues or environmental issues or noise issues. Sometimes they can be things like dealing with responses to catastrophes like the Maui wildfires last year. We got a call, I live in Connecticut, I'm on the East Coast. I got a call very early in the morning, the day after the wildfire started, from Lieutenant Governor's office asking for help. And we quickly were able to put together our carrier representatives, our airline representatives, to work with the state to get additional aircraft to Maui to help to evacuate locals and tourists alike. We were able to do that quickly because we are so well coordinated, because we work so closely together, and because we've developed those relationships throughout the state over the last several years. Governor Green talked earlier about, I think he used the term impasse, that was, that the state was dealing with when the COVID-19 pandemic began, and there was a lot of states in the country that just didn't know how to react to this unknown pandemic that we were facing. We, Airlines for America, and our member carriers jumped in and tried to help the state navigate through the public policy issues that the pandemic presented. Obviously, the state's response to that was initially a work in progress, like most states throughout the country. But we were able to help work through that and identify what some of the pitfalls were of public policy ideas, so that we could meet the mutual goal that we had with the state to facilitate safe, responsible tourism to the state of Hawaii. And so we continue to do that here. We're really proud of the work that we've done. We're proud of the relationships that we've developed, and we look forward to continuing to do that in the years to come.
Maikai, fantastic. Okay, Roy, you're not off the hook. I'm going to come back to you. As an engaged leader in our community, and given your experience in the industry, if you were king of the HTA world for a day, what would be your first order of business to help right the tourism and stewardship ship?
Oh, this is putting me on the spot here, but I think, Mufi, the HTA staff, they're terrific. They're super hardworking, and you couldn't ask for a more dedicated bunch of individuals. The state is very actually lucky to have such dedicated, passionate employees. Yeah. Thank you, HCA staff. To kind of answer your question, what I think I would focus in on would be, how do we improve communication on the benefits of the industry? I think one of the things that, there's just some basic standard messaging that goes out, like $22 billion of economic activity, a couple $1 billion in GET and TAT. But I think it goes much deeper than that, and I think that's where we need to look at what's the total, impact of the visitor industry, like revenue-wise, and also how our communities are benefiting from it. Like an example would be of information that's not really readily available. There's fees generated by the industry for the landing fees at the airport, the rentals, the concession fees. A lot of that is attributed to the visitors, and that money really runs the airports, and it doesn't take GET or other funding for that. Same to the harbors. The harbors has fees from the cruise ship industry. The highways gets revenue from, whether it's fuel taxes and, there's car rental fees. There's all kind of different types of fee structures that generate revenue for the state. And on the other side of it, I think we also have the work that, as an example, Kilohana does with all the local activities, the grants that it provides to many, startup businesses. So that kind of information, I think, would be best communicated, I think on a much more detailed level, both to administration, the legislature, as well as the public in general.
Excellent. So continuing with the theme of kako and divided by Hawaii, I'm going to come back to Sean. Ed, we're going to end with you. I'm just trying to do the math on the timing here. So we'll go back to Sean. The airline industry is extremely competitive, very, very competitive, and the margins are very thin, and so it stands to reason that it is. How do you work through that from a national level with all of the airlines that compete fiercely to achieve kako here in Hawaii?
That is a great question. Thank you for asking it, Blaine. As you noted, this is a highly competitive industry. I have the benefit of working with people in government affairs who work together on behalf of the industry for good public policy outcomes for the entire industry. But if you go talk to folks, and you better than anybody will know this, if you go talk to folks who work in sales or marketing at an airline, or if they work in network planning, determining where the next route should be for Hawaiian or United or American or some other airline, they're very fiercely competitive with each other. And in fact, they don't understand how we can work so well together, because they are, at each other's throats, airline to airline, trying to get a leg up and try to obtain a larger share of the customer base. And so we work together as a group of government affairs professionals because we are working on these public policy issues. But as you note, this is a highly competitive industry, and that competition has led to lower fares and more destinations than ever before for passengers here throughout the United States. It's no secret that this country is dealing with, has been dealing for the last few years with higher inflation. Knock on wood, that appears to be coming down a bit, but we've been dealing with high inflation for the last several years. Airline fares are one of the few products or services that have actually been on the decline in that same time period. Inflation-adjusted fares are down 9% from last year to this year. This is U.S. DOT data. This isn't Sean Williams data or A4A data. Inflation-adjusted fares are down 9% last year and down 50% since this industry was deregulated in 1978. Air travel is more accessible to average people than it ever has been before right now. And the evidence of that is the average person has flown by the time they're 16 years old. That was never the case, certainly prior to the industry being deregulated. That was never the case before. But fares have been down. That's created more opportunities. We like to say that the skies have been democratized, and that people are now of very average means are able to take vacations with their families or to go see new places and new destinations. And that's all a result of that competition. So it goes to show you how intense that competition is, that fares have been lower and lower year over year. And we like to work together to continue to promote that level of competition, create a level playing field for all airlines, which at the end of the day benefits passengers.
Excellent. I know you know the answer. As you look across the nation, what is unique about Hawaii relative to shepherding the industry?
I think it goes back to what Governor Green was talking about earlier. We all have our differences. Everybody in this room has an opinion on political issues or various topics. But what's unique about Hawaii is the ability of people to come together for the greater good for the state, for the community that they serve, the communities that they serve. I do find myself in other states sometimes not seeing that level of collaboration. Again, that doesn't mean that there's not disagreements, but I find that when we come here, people are extremely thoughtful, extremely willing to come to some sort of a compromise and do it for the benefit of all the people who live here. I actually think there are other states that could take a big lesson from what happens here in Hawaii.
Excellent, Mike Kai. Okay, so if my math is correct, we are at the end here, except to give Mr. Sniffen one more question that will hopefully lead up to the conclusion for this panel. But here's your question. What's keeping you up at night about the airport experience, given the nexus to tourism and the first and last impression of our mature infrastructure for visitors and kama'aina alike?
Very good question. I'll say it's changed over time. At first it was, am I going to get another crack in my runway someplace and I got to shut it down again? The great thing is, as we adjust our infrastructure pieces to ensure that we can improve the experience, once we take care of those base details that we have to take care of, our safety pieces, our cleanliness, our partnerships with our vendors, partnerships with our airlines, making sure that we cultivate those so that everybody works together, that list of things that concern me gets smaller and smaller and more detail-oriented. And that's where we are now. Now we can really focus on enhancing the experience versus taking away the detractions from the airport. Now we don't hear as much, your airport sucks. I mean, your airport's old and sucks. Now we hear, well, I wish this food place was a little closer to this gate. And those are things that we can adjust over time. What we're trying to work towards is ensuring that once somebody gets to our airport, they already feel like they're in your lives, they're in your industry. So when they get out to you, they're already started in the right direction. And when you guys tire them out through the industry and make sure they experienced everything they could in Hawaii, they can come back to the airport and relax before they head out to back to their destination. That's where we want to get to. And in doing so, we want to make sure that we're tying back to all of Governor Green's and the legislature's priorities. We want to make sure that we're taking care of energy security and food security at the same time as we're taking care of our missions to take care of everybody else. We want to make sure that education is that big piece so we can keep refilling all those roles that all of you play and all of us play before they're needed. We want to make sure that we can move forward with telling everybody we have great jobs, we have great industry in Hawaii, and get away from the whole rhetoric of we got to create jobs to make sure people can come home. It's already here. We just got to make sure we can keep talking to them. And then we're going to make sure we can feed back again to everybody in our industry and everybody who's coming up to schools that they should be globally connected. We're trying to make sure that our transportation system connects everybody and gets rid of that 2,500-mile gap immediately to be globally connected. But they also got to be locally committed to ensure that everybody comes back again and feeds back into this place that we all love and enhance it from there. That's where I want to go.
Mai kai. So actually, that just ties it all together. You know, I'm privileged to be the chair of the Branding and Marketing Committee for the Hawaiʻi Tourism Authority. Very pleased to be in that role. You know, when you think about brand, the general sort of view of it is livery and what's on the airplane as an example. But really, it's the ano of the experience, right? It's kind of the essence, the core. And I think the brand that is Hawaii cannot be described on paper. You know, Governor alluded to it. It was magic in Los Angeles 2 weeks ago. It was magic in Japan a week ago. You know, and creating those moments so that, you know, people feel Hawaii and you have a relationship. I think by hui and by kako, we can achieve it together. I'm so encouraged by, you know, the conversation this morning relative to that. I'm going to borrow 6 minutes and try to wrap it all up. So, Ed, you were involved in a project at the Hilo International Airport. To me, that is a demonstration of kako. That is a demonstration of Divided by Hawaii. This world premiere video that I'm going to show you in just a second is about the work that went into creating those murals at Hilo International Airport. And to me is a roadmap to the future. You know, all of the resources used in this video are homegrown Hawaii, all of them, soup to nuts, including catering and all the stuff that comes with. And so to me, that's a blueprint for the future here, and really puts sort of, it's the visible manifestation of kako. We premiered this video in Los Angeles, we premiered this video in Tokyo, and now this is the Honolulu premiere of a project powered by the Hawaiʻi Tourism Authority. Thank you very much for your attention.
This is what you use to apply.
So like, you can either use the brush or pellet. I like to use the pellet because like you literally can make a straight line.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
then you can blend, you know.
All right, boys and girls, we're gonna finish with
Auntie Christy. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We're really, we're really like out there. Okay, let's go.
Mahalo, everyone.
Oh, look at the sun. Wow, that's like beautiful.
Mahalo nui loa to our amazing panel. Sean, Nanea, Ed, Roy, Chris, Blaine, mahalo nui.